Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that you may answer our prayers in ways that lead us to know you, love you, and serve you. Let us glorify your name. Let us be open to all that you call us to know, and let us serve you in ways that lead us to show others of your greatness. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, today, besides being Monday of the 11th week of Ordinary Time, it is also, by the way, the day that we celebrate the patron of this very parish, St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, as well as the other St. Anthony parishes that you may find in the area. This is a memorial of St. Anthony of Padua. By the way, that is the proper pronunciation. I get these calls all the time from some of the local hospitals. Is this St. Anthony of Padua? No, it is St. Anthony of Padua. If you happen to be listening from one of the local colleges, please teach your students how to say Padua. I get it all the time. Is this St. Anthony of Padua? No, there is no St. Anthony of Padua. It's St. Anthony of Padua. Also, the other thing you need to know is St. Anthony of Padua is part of a corridor here in the Boston area, starting with St. Anthony of Allston and ending in St. Anthony of Revere. And what you'll see is St. Anthony Allston, St. Anthony Cambridge, St. Anthony Somerville, St. Anthony Everett, and then St. Anthony Revere. So I call it the St. Anthony corridor. Begins with us and ends over in Revere. And I suppose that doesn't include St. Anthony Shrine in downtown Boston, which of course is very well known. Of course, St. Anthony is mostly known for being the patron saint of lost things, as opposed to lost cases, hopeless cases. That's St. Jude. But St. Anthony of Padua is the patron saint of lost things. So if you lose something, a lot of people say, well, pray to St. Anthony. So that's one of the things that you can do. So he's the patron saint of lost things. But you will also find that he is a doctor of the church. He's very popular among the Portuguese-speaking people, which is why, for example, you will find parishes that were Portuguese and are now either English-speaking over time, or they're Brazilian, because he's very popular among the Portuguese-speaking. He was from Portugal, and therefore he's very popular among those Portuguese-speaking people, which are the European Portuguese. And then, of course, many of the Brazilians recognize the connection to St. Anthony, and they get very much in touch with him. So you'll see a Portuguese-speaking community, and that could either be a Brazilian Portuguese or a European Portuguese, and they're two separate languages. They're similar, just like British English and American English, but they do have their differences, not the least of which is pronunciation. And therefore, their pronunciations are a little bit different. So there's Brazilian Portuguese and there's European Portuguese, but you'll often find a connection all the way down. So, for example, there was a Portuguese community and still is in St. Anthony in Cambridge, but there's also a very strong Brazilian community there. St. Anthony in Allston always had a Brazilian community since the Brazilians came here to the United States. And so there was a Brazilian community there for quite some time. And then, of course, we obviously have an English-speaking community, which all of you who are listening are welcome to come enjoy. And we invite you to Mass at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. So you can see there's this strong connection. Now, he's also strongly connected to the Italian community. So what you'll often find is parishes that are there and have an Italian community there and or an European Portuguese community there, a Portuguese-speaking community, and or a Brazilian Portuguese-speaking community there. And you will find all of that because St. Anthony is very popular among very many nationalities and very many groups. So there is something to keep in mind when we're talking about St. Anthony. And, of course, today is the patronal feast of the sponsoring parish of this broadcast, which is St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. So in light of that, we have some interesting readings today that are part of the 11th week of Ordinary Time. And the first one goes back to the story of Elijah, and it tells the story of Elijah and Naboth. And actually, it doesn't actually go with Elijah. Elijah comes in later, but it's Naboth, and there is a king Ahab. We talked about him last week, and he is married to a queen Jezebel. And we talked about last week how Jezebel is the most evil woman in the Bible. So anyway, what we see here is Naboth has a vineyard, and Ahab, the king, would like his vineyard, and so he's willing to pay for it. So we have a kind of eminent domain going on here, but Ahab would not sell the king his vineyard. It's not necessarily a thing where people say, well, he's the king and you should give it to him because it's better for the society or whatever the case may be. The fact is that land is extremely important in the Jewish world, and it really has a strong and ancestral ties. So you didn't really sell land the way Ahab wanted it in the Jewish community. So Ahab wanted to buy this vineyard, and Naboth rightly said no. But remember, Ahab is married by way of political expedience to Jezebel, who is the queen. And Jezebel doesn't recognize or care about any of these ancient traditions within the Israeli community. And so therefore, she doesn't really agree with Naboth saying no. We're going to talk more about this on the other side of the break. You're listening to St. Anthony Overnight from St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts.
I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com.
And don't forget our own website, CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. You can check out our website, check out the archives of the show, check out our Substack newsletter, check out all kinds of things over there at CatholicAudiomedia.com. You'll hear more at the end of the show. So anyway, what happens is that what happens is Ahab comes home and he pouts. I can't get this vineyard. And Jezebel sees this and she's like, you're the king. How can this happen? But of course, this is all within the rights of Naboth not to sell his vineyard, especially within the context of the Hebrew understandings of the ancestral ties to land. So what happens is Ahab comes home, he's pouting, and Jezebel is like, I'll get you the vineyard. And so what Jezebel does is she uses a tool that is very commonly used. You've seen it used all the time. It is used by people all the time, and it is even a device that has been prohibited by the commandments, and that is spreading false rumors. And what they do is Jezebel calls them to have this great big party, and they're going to have this big celebration for Naboth. What they're really going to do is they're going to trash him and rile the whole townspeople up against him and kill them. And once they kill Naboth, the king gets the land. So you can see it is a very evil tool. Yet how often do we see it all the time? We see it used all the time, especially, it's taught in Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And it's taught, this tool of using any kind of, we have a name for it, mudslinging. You see it in political campaigns. You see it on TV. You see it also used selectively. They will use different things to portray an opponent, for example, the way they want to portray the opponent with just enough information to rile people up against that opponent, but not to give the full story or not to give other parts of the story. And this happens all the time. And this is an ancient practice. It goes all the way back to even beyond, I'm sure, the Book of Kings, but we can clearly see it in the story of Elijah, especially, and Naboth and Jezebel. And the person who uses it is the most evil woman in the entire Bible. And so anytime you see that tactic, if you watch TV, you're going to see it every single day. If you watch the news, you're going to see it every single day. If you watch any kind of political manipulation, you're going to see it every single day. And you're also going to see the opposite. People, when someone actually says something that's actually true, people will come in and say that's not true. For example, you might see, we'll say, a politician who a whole bunch of people have caught him stealing something, we'll say, hypothetically. And then you'll see on certain news services that support that politician, they'll say, well, is there any definitive proof? Well, actually there is, but they'll undermine their credibility so they can put forth their politician. That also is bearing false witness. And so what she uses this tool called bearing false witness. And what St. John Vianney would say, detraction, which is it doesn't matter whether the statement is true or false. If you use it to destroy another person, it is what he considered one of the worst of all sins. And all of this comes together. It's a powerful tool used to destroy people, and that's what the most evil woman in the Bible exactly does, uses this powerful tool, and she succeeds in the short run. She succeeds, and in doing so, Ahab gets his vineyard, Jezebel wins her battle, but as we see tomorrow, then all of a sudden, who shows up? The greatest prophet in the Old Testament. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Have yourself a blessed day. If you would like to support our program, please consider a donation to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. There are several ways to consider this. One is to purchase any of our merchandise, which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. There are coffee mugs there. There's also my latest book, Encounter Christ in Your Humanity, all of which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. You can also donate to the show directly through either the Donate tab, also at CatholicAudiomedia.com, or by sending a donation to the U.S. Postal Service with your questions and comments at 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. That's St. Anthony Parish, 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. Finally, the best way you can support our parish is to attend Mass on Sundays at 10 o'clock and be a part of our parish. We thank you for any support you would like to give to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, the sponsoring parish for this media outreach to Catholics and other Christians in the WROL, WEZE, and podcast listening audience. In Cristo vivimos.